Let's be honest for a second. If you've been grappling for a while, you know the exact feeling I'm talking about. You wake up the morning after a tough session, and it literally sounds like someone is stepping on bubble wrap every time you move, right? You're reaching for the ibuprofen before you even think about pouring your coffee. Your recovery times are totally dragging, and it's getting incredibly frustrating trying to match the endless gas tanks of those 20-year-old athletes who seem to survive purely on acai bowls and sheer adrenaline. Well, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're breaking down the definitive, science-backed blueprint for not just surviving, but actually thriving in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as you age.
So, I've got to ask you, do you think you're too old for Jiu-Jitsu? Do you ever get that sinking feeling like you just can't keep up anymore? Like maybe the sport has gotten way too fast, way too explosive, and honestly, just too young for your current reality? Listen, I want to completely shatter that mindset right here, right now. We're going to dive into a massive paradigm shift known as old man Jiu-Jitsu. And spoiler alert, this isn't about giving up or accepting defeat. No way. It's about evolving your game into something terrifyingly efficient.
Because, age really is just a number. Just look at Roberto Cyborg Abreu. At 40 years old, competing against the absolute best, most hyper-athletic 20-somethings in the entire world, he recently went on a mind-blowing 13-fight winning streak. So how is he doing it? He definitely isn't doing it by being faster. Actually, scratch that. He's doing it by being vastly smarter. When your strategy is bulletproof, youth becomes a highly overrated advantage. All right, Section 1, the Post-40 reality. Let's get right into it. The very first step to building that bulletproof strategy is accepting the harsh realities of aging on the mats. We simply can't pretend our bodies bounce back like they did in college. We've got to make calculated, realistic adjustments to how we view this combat sport. Think about the two distinct paths a grappler can take. On one side, you have the young grappler's approach, right? Explosive scrambles, blistering speed, and redline intensity. It's just constant, relentless motion. But on the flip side, we have the experienced grappler's weapon set. To dominate now, you have to shift your entire style to pure technique, heavy methodical pressure, and absolute selectivity. You stop playing their high-speed scramble game, and instead you drag them down into the deep, suffocating waters of your high-efficiency game.
Which brings us to Section 2, Train Smarter. This is the first major pillar of our blueprint, and it all starts with the most critical yet frequently overlooked decision you make every single time you step onto the mat.
Partner selection. BJ expert Rick Ellis hits the nail right on the head here. If you don't advocate for your own safety, no one else will. It is absolutely crucial to start saying no. Declining a reckless, ego-driven role with a 220-pound hyper-aggressive white belt? That isn't a hit to your pride. It's a mandatory investment in your joint longevity. You have to actively seek out training partners who push you technically, not just physically. And it's all about consistency over intensity. You need to drop that exhausting, high-volume, 6-days-a-week grind that leaves you feeling like a literal zombie at your day job. Training smarter means hitting the mats for just 2 to 3 highly focused sessions a week. This gives you the exact neurological stimulus you need to grow your technique, while giving your older joints in your central nervous system the mandatory 48 hours they actually need to repair themselves. Remember, more isn't better. Better is better. Moving on to Section 3, Ideal Tactics and Positions. So, we've got our weekly schedule dialed in. Now let's talk about what actually happens when the timer starts and hands are slapped. We need specific, tangible, on-the-mat tactics to neutralize those athletic advantages. You have to master the slow, meticulous, high-pressure passing game. Black belt Wim de Putter champions this brilliant strategy. Instead of creating space in getting into wild athletic scrambles, you close the distance entirely. You lock your grips, drop your hips, and apply constant, heavy forward pressure. You are literally forcing your opponent to carry every single ounce of your body weight. You move inch by grueling inch, draining their energy while conserving yours. You just let them completely exhaust themselves trying to bench press you off. And what about when you're on the bottom playing guard? Well, you need highly efficient, structural positions that rely strictly on leverage over muscle. Closed guard locks a fast opponent down, breaking their posture entirely. The knee shield half guard creates a literal bone frame that even the heaviest opponent cannot crush. Butterfly and spider guards utilize mechanical leverage to off-balance them, while De La Riva and deep half guard lets you sweep from underneath without fighting gravity. These are absolutely your best tools for putting the brakes on a frantic, explosive opponent. Section 4. Strength, mobility, and prevention. Because look, technique alone won't save you.
we need to transition off the mats for a moment. Building a resilient, durable body is a completely mandatory requirement if you want to survive jiu-jitsu into your 40s, 50s, and beyond.
Let's ground this in some hard science from the Journal of Human Kinetics. When looking at the physiological profile of typical BJJ athletes, they usually have great muscle mass and decent body fat percentages. But the flexibility metric, it's alarmingly low. Most older grapplers walk around as stiff as a board, feeling like the Tin Man before he finds his oil can. And this severe lack of suppleness is the exact root cause of joint tears, muscle strains, and chronic pain as we age.
To combat this, physician and BJJ black belt Dr. Mark Barton recommends a highly effective, realistic off-mat routine. We're talking just 2 days a week of basic compound lifting to build armor, combined with a mere 10 to 20 minutes of daily yoga or mobility work and a strict joint-focused warm-up before class. You don't need to live in the gym. You don't need to become a professional bodybuilder. It just takes daily, incremental consistency to keep the rust out of your joints.
Let's look at the specific armor you need to build. These targeted exercises act as a protective scaffolding for your most vulnerable BJJ joints. Wall sits bulletproof your knees against weird wrestling scrambles. Turkish get-ups build indestructible shoulders for posting and framing. Neck bridges prevent cervical tweaks when you inevitably get stacked, and glute bridges protect your lower back from the endless folding, compressing, and twisting of the sport.
Okay, Section 5, the art of recovery. Now, you can train smart and lift weights all day long, but if you ignore this next pillar, you're still going to burn out spectacularly. Biological recovery is completely non-negotiable. 7 to 9. Those numbers are absolutely everything. 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep is the ultimate totally free performance-enhancing tool available to you. Deep sleep repairs micro tears in your muscle tissue, it releases human growth hormone, and it prevents the cognitive decline that directly leads to stupid, preventable injuries on the mat. You have got to treat your bedtime with the exact same discipline as your mat time.
And you've got to fuel the machine properly. As we get older, we absolutely cannot outtrain a bad diet anymore. You need roughly 1.6 to 2.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight every single day just to actively repair muscle damage. And just as importantly for older grapplers, load up on anti-inflammatory foods. Getting omega-3s from fatty fish or high-quality supplements is exactly how you manage and reduce that nagging daily joint pain.
Then there's the undeniable magic of contrast therapy. Cold therapy rapidly constricts your blood vessels and actively flushes out pooling inflammation from a hard rolling session. Heat therapy does the exact opposite. It opens things up, floods the area with fresh, oxygenated blood, and literally melts away deep muscular stiffness. By alternating between the cold and the heat, you create this biological circulatory pump effect that drastically accelerates your recovery time. Throw in 10 minutes of foam rolling, and you're going to feel like a whole new person.
And finally, Section 6, mindset and longevity. You can have the perfect diet, an impassable guard, and lift all the weights in the world. But to truly thrive, you must master the psychology of the older grappler.
So, what really is old man jiu-jitsu? It's a brilliant, necessary paradigm shift. It's the conscious decision to replace a reliance on fading athleticism with deep, undeniable technique, precise mechanical leverage, and, most importantly, the complete detachment of your ego. The entire thrill of the sport changes. Outsmarting an opponent 3 steps ahead becomes far more important and, honestly, vastly more satisfying than just trying to outmuscle them.
I really urge you to completely redefine your goals on the mat. Start celebrating the small, highly technical victories. A perfect sweep, a flawless positional escape, or honestly, just making it back to your car feeling healthy. And remember, tapping is wisdom, not weakness. Checking your ego and tapping early to a submission protects your joints today so you can live, learn, and roll tomorrow.
I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. Are your best, most efficient days in BJJ still ahead of you? If you check your ego, adopt a high-pressure, methodical game, prioritize your biological recovery, and build resilient physical armor, I firmly believe the answer is yes. Your most efficient and most profoundly rewarding days are absolutely waiting for you. Apply this blueprint, and I guarantee you'll be thriving on the mats for decades to come. Thanks for joining this explainer, and keep rolling smart.